When we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Heaven,
Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm in heaven.
your ticket?
Yeah, hung around me, seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak. When we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to go out fishing. Yeah. Oh. It's on.
If you just start, like, if you C major 7, you start on C, then you go up with the inversions, you know.
Sure.
But when you do that, then you're kind of using muscle memory from the adjacent chord. So, like, what strategy, I guess, would you recommend to being able to play different specific inversions inversions without the relationship, to, like without playing the root inversion first. Do you know what I'm asking?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you got to kind of get your place here until you get, yeah. It's one of the most difficult things about playing piano. And I have a funny story. One of the first, you asked me what the first piece I learned on piano. It's not the first piece I learned, but this was the first kind of like real combo I played with in a music camp when I was 15. And we were playing, Tunisia, right? And so I'm playing, and I'm playing for everybody. And then it was my turn to solo, and I was like, my left hand, like. And the guy just waited a while, and I stopped. He says, no, you got to play your left hand, playing the chorus. And I swear to God, I told him, that's impossible. Like that, I go, that's impossible. How could you possibly think of those weird, chords that if you come from classical or rock or pop, like I did, they make no sense when you first learn them, because everything in that is playing the root or maybe the third or something like very closely associated to it. So I feel your pain. You're not going to like my answer, and my answer is just forcing yourself to only play, or at least in your practice time, inversions. Yeah, pick an inversion. Like if you're talking about just basic, that kind of stuff.
I already know how to do it. I was asking if you had like the specific like order of keys. Like, would you recommend doing it chromatically or?
Not chromatically, no.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's cheating. Yeah, you can kind of just. So on piano, it's cheating. So no, a circle of fifths is the very common answers for that. So like, say this major seventh and second inversion, right? Is that right? Yeah. So that starts on the fifth. So it goes C, here's F, here's B flat, here's E flat, here's A, like that. And then maybe mix it up a little. Maybe do a whole steps or something. So you just try to trick yourself into finding. Then take a tune or something, and don't even worry about the chord qualities. Just look at the roots and just try to get those through the. It'll be kind of more random how the chords are.
And then the other question I have was, like, the amount of different seventh chords is kind of overwhelming. If you, like, would you recommend, because if you, what I've been doing, I've been taking major, minor, dominant, and half diminished.
Yeah.
And then just playing those in one, like, let's see, playing those, sorry.
You can show me if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably easier.
So, like, would you recommend, like, so if I start like, or going through, like going, like, would you recommend, because if you play all four of them in the,
you just switching a couple notes.
Yeah, right? And then you get used to how they feel the relationship,
of course.
But then when you practice like each one going through all 12 keys, then you lose the relationship of starting, you know what I'm talking about?
I do know, yeah. So my answer is like doing both. Doing both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong, and this probably goes for a lot of instruments, there's really nothing wrong with muscle memory. Eventually, you're going to be playing everything from muscle memory. You can't play this fast, right? And like think, oh, third and seventh, that's never going to happen. It's all muscle memory. Or like you're playing a classical piece, you can't think of each individual thing. It's groupings and muscle memory. So muscle memory is a good thing, but you want to increase your muscle memory so that you could do it in different ways. So yeah, I would do like that, and that's all fine, but then also skip around. Right? For sure. And then also always practice exercises and things in different directions. So like, and also in different orders. Right? Because those are the shapes and patterns that you want to be able to have when you're improvising. You're not going to really play arpeggios like straight up and down, almost never. Next thing you can do is kill the 4-on-4 bass. I know that's
Oh yeah, I think there's no bass.
there's no bass, but even with that, so let's talk about that a second. So 4-on-4 bass drum is totally a thing. It's an older style of playing, which is fine. And the reason was it was to enforce the bass, like you said. In the old days, the bass wasn't mic'd, so that the kick drum would give a little bit more pop to that walking thing. Nowadays, you don't need to do that. It can be an effective thing for the same reason, just like but really, really kind of lightly. But generally speaking, like you don't. That's not a thing you would do the whole.
Oh yeah,
the whole thing. Of course. And that takes up a lot of sound too. So the first, like little saucer and kind of use the kick drum just for accents. And
yeah,
stuff.
no, usually that's what I do.
Yeah.
When I default to that.
Wait, yeah,
it sounds really epic.
Yeah, I know. This is not an ideal situation, so I get it. But great job, and form and everything, and your ideas are great, and everything's cool. I would just work with your teacher or whoever. I'm just learning. Just to give you guys one hint. So I'm gonna sing comp rhythms. 1, 2. I want to do. And also less long chords, right? That's a style, but in halftime it doesn't sound a little weird. And it's also tuning up a lot of sound. So if you're hearing long notes, accents, it just you get the swing. And then the swing just kind of get dark. It gets very like that. Where it should be kind of light and pop, right? Try again, so all three of you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's something to practice, right? Force yourself not to practice on downbeats, not to practice on long, playing long stuff. Go transcribe like Graham Dean and Wes Montgomery comping and those that kind of era and style of playing, and just kind of force yourself to do it. Kind of what we're talking about. Like, we're talking about like adding different comping rhythms, specific comping patterns, and then stay away from the downbeat. Okay? You think. Right? How about vibrato? Right? So there's a million things you can do to change that. In fact, you're very lucky, you guys, because you have way more things than we, especially, can hardly do anything. We don't have any control over timbre, vibrato. You can swell the note. We can't swell the note. And then Aiden's next in line, because he can do a little bit more than we can, because he has some volume controls and amps and things like that. He can do vibrato and bends and things like that. You could bend, you could scoop. There's so much with just 2 notes, right? So play a few choruses and just go crazy. We're not playing a solo. We're not in Carnegie Hall playing a solo. We are practicing, working on something, okay? All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and... Yeah, remember.